subscribe and click the bell icon to turn on notifications.
Now, when it comes to cell alignment or aligning items contained within cells, there are a couple of important things that it's useful to know. Now, by default, when you type a number into a cell, for example, if I go down here and type in the number 1000 and hit enter, that value by default is going to be aligned to the right-hand side of the cell. If I type in a word into a cell, so let's just type in hello, that is going to be aligned to the left-hand side of the cell. If I type in a date, let's do 1st of the 1st, 2021, and hit enter, that is also going to align to the right-hand side of the cell. So the thing you need to remember here is that values or numbers are always aligned to the right by default, as are dates, but text is going to align by default to the left of the cell. And of course, you can change these alignments by using your alignment tools, which we're going to take a look at in a moment. Now, all of the tools that we're going to be working with in this lesson, you're going to find on the home ribbon in the alignment group. So let's break this down and just start out with this little group of 6 icons just here. Now, these 6 icons allow you to control the horizontal and the vertical alignment of the value or the text within a cell. And the top 3 allow you to control the vertical alignment, and the bottom 3 allow you to control the horizontal alignment. So let's start out with these horizontal alignment tools, the bottom 3 icons. The first one here allows us to align everything to the left. We can then align to the center or align to the right-hand side. So if I was to select this heading row just here, currently these are all aligned to the left, but what I could do is align them all to the center. Alternatively, I could align them to the right-hand side of the cell. So this controls your horizontal alignment. But what about vertical alignment? Well, to demonstrate this, let me make this heading row a little bit taller. Because what you'll notice is as soon as I do that, all of these column headings are basically aligned to the bottom of the cells. And that is the default in Excel. Now, it might be that I'm fine with that, but maybe I want them vertically aligned to the middle or to the top of the cell. So again, I can select my cells and use my vertical alignment tools. Notice currently that bottom align is selected, but I could choose to middle align or top align. So if I want everything dead in the center of the cells, I would need to middle align, and then I'm going to horizontally align to the center. So those are your alignment utilities. Now, what about this next button across? This controls the orientation of the text. So again, by default, anything that you type into a cell is going to be in horizontal orientation. And I would say that for the most part, that is the one that you're going to use. But if you wanted this to look slightly different, I could again select my cell range, and I can choose to angle counterclockwise, clockwise. I can have it vertically going up. I can rotate the text, so on and so forth. So if I angle counterclockwise, that is how my headings are going to look. And for this, I would probably want to widen that row out just a little bit. Let's take a look at a couple of these other options. I can change them so they're going the other way. I can make them vertical like that, which is a little bit strange. I can rotate the text up, or I can rotate the text down. And of course, if I want to see more options, I could choose to format cell alignment, where I can come in here and really customize the orientation or the amount of degrees that I'm rotating these values. Now, I don't want to rotate this, so let's just undo a few times just to take that back to how it was originally. Now, the 2 buttons underneath deal with indentation within cells. So by default, everything that you type into a cell isn't going to have any type of indentation. But what I could do here is select a cell, so let's say cell B9, and then I could indent the contents of that particular cell. So if I increase the indent, you can see it's going to move across the cell, or I can decrease the indent. So this is sometimes useful if you have multiple lines of text within a cell and you want to maybe show the difference between the first item and its sub-items underneath. Now the final two options that we have in this alignment group are wrapped text and merge and center. Now what wrapped text will do is it will wrap extra long text into multiple lines so that you can see all of it. And what we mean by that is if I make this column a little bit narrower, notice that currently the way I have these cells set up is that the text is kind of cut off. The column isn't wide enough, so it's not displaying everything. But what about if I have to have this column at this width, and I still want to be able to see the full description? Well, this is where I could choose to wrap the text. So what I can do here is select all of these cells and click Wrap Text. And that is going to basically widen out the rows to accommodate the entire length of the description without changing the width of the column. So here you can see that some of these items are now wrapped on to 2 lines. So that is what wrap text can do for you. Now I don't actually want these wrapped, so let's select all of these again, and I'm just going to toggle off wrap text. And we're going to just double click to resize that column. Now, another thing that you can do when you're working in cells is you can add your own manual line breaks. So if I have, for example, this description just here, taxi fare London Paddington to Greenwich. If I want the words to Greenwich to be on a separate line, I can add a manual line break. So if I double click so that my cursor is placed where I want the line to break and press Alt Enter, that's going to push that down onto the row below. And that option there is different to wrapping the text because we've added a manual line break. And to get rid of that, I can simply select the cell and unwrap the text. That's going to reverse that. Now the final thing we have in here is the merge and center drop down. And we have a few different options in here. And what merge and center does is it allows you to merge cells together. So if we take a look at the title just here, I have expenses claim form for Simon Says It. Now, even though this text looks like it runs across into column B, it's actually all contained within column A. If I were to double click to widen out this column, you can see that it's all contained within column A just there, or in cell A1, I should say. Now, what about if I want to center this title across the data below? You might think that you could click on the cell that contains the text, cell A1 in this case, and use your alignment tools. So maybe if I select center alignment, that's going to center everything. Let's click it and see what happens. It doesn't center align the title above my data. What it does is it just centers it in the cell that the text is contained within. And for this, or what I'm trying to achieve, that doesn't really work well. So in order to get this title to center across the data below, I would need to merge the cells. So what I can do here is select all of the cells to the same width as the data below, and then I have a few different options. Now, merge and center basically does 2 things in one. It will merge the 4 cells and make them one big cell, and it will also center the values. So merge and center is going to leave me with that. This is now one big cell as opposed to 4 separate cells, and my text is in the middle. Let's undo. We also have merge across. Now what that will do is it will merge the cells, so it's one big cell, but it's not going to move that text to the center. We then have a merge cells option, which in this scenario is pretty much going to do the same as merge across. And then we have an unmerge cells option, which is going to make them 4 separate cells again. So for me, in this example, I want to select all of the cells, merge center, and then I'm going to apply a little bit of formatting to this title. So let's make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to change the background to a light grey color, like so. And then just to finish this up, I don't really need all of these blank rows in between, so I'm going to delete out some of these. Let's right click and delete. Now don't forget that you also have additional alignment options by clicking this little diagonal arrow. That's going to jump you into your alignment settings. So let's click it and see what we have. So once again, we can choose our text alignment, and we have lots of different options in there, including some additional options which aren't on the ribbon. We also have some text control options, so we can wrap our text from here, and we can do things like shrink text to fit cells. Now let me just quickly show you what that is. If I was to type in a sentence, let's do it over here. Hello world, are you enjoying this training? And maybe I want this cell to be that wide. If I want to fit all of this sentence into that one cell, but I don't want to adjust the width of the column, I could choose to shrink to fit. Click on OK, and it's going to minimize that sentence down so that it fits exactly into the cell. Now, of course, that makes it extremely hard to read. That isn't an option I use really at all, but in some cases it doesn't shrink it down this tiny, and it works quite well. So just be aware of those additional alignment options that you have in that diagonal alignment settings drop-down.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To see the full course that this video came from, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.